Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli here. I want to talk to you about how I prepare for a tournament. Here we are, we're right on the front side of the event in South Dakota at Lake Oahe. I've never fished here before. I've got 2.5 days of practice in front of me to get ready to try to win this tournament and catch a lot of big smallmouth. I want to talk to you a little bit about how I set the boat up, how I set my equipment up, how I'm going to prepare to do battle on a new lake. The first thing is, before I ever got here, I did a little bit of research. I did research on the internet, Google searches, trying to find information on what kind of patterns happen, what areas of the lake are good, what weight I'm looking to catch. That gets me started. The next thing I do is I go old school, and I like to buy paper maps. I buy paper maps of a lake, start to break down areas where I want to focus in on and practice. Lake Oahe is giant. It's a huge lake. I can't fish it all in 2.5 days. So I want to be set up to have some ideas of where I want to fish. The next thing are my electronics. And these things are going to be so important this week. And I'm using Lowrance HDS 12s. If you see, I have 2 separate units. I set up one for mapping and 2D sonar. I set up the other one that does side imaging. And between 2D, side imaging, and my mapping, I can really look at a lot. Finally, I use an iPad. And if you look at it, I just use a RAM mount right here on my boat. And the iPad lets me get a satellite view of the lake. I'll switch between Bing Maps, Google Earth, and I can see the lake at different levels to find some stuff that hopefully some guys will miss. So a little bit of preparation before I ever get here, but what's up there? What's up there in those hatches in my bass cat? This is really important to how I'm going to practice. Let me show you a little bit up here. Let's start with the rods. And if you look in my rod box, just take a look in there real quick. It took me a really long time. It took me about 4 hours of preparation to get these rods ready. And I carry between 28 and 30 rods in this rod locker. Every one of those rods has a different bait tied on. Whether it's a topwater, crankbait, spinnerbait, jig, everything in between. Different baits, different colors. So when I think something on the water, when I'm practicing, you have to think and follow your instincts. So if I'm out there and I think, oh God, this is a spot for a Carolina rig, I don't want to take the time to retie it. I want to reach in my rod locker, pull it out. I move areas if I think this is a spot for a spinnerbait. I want to go in and grab it. So like a golfer using different clubs for different situations, I've got 28 to 30 rods in my box, every one with a different bait or a different color bait tied on. The next one, if you look in this one, is this is where I'm going to carry a lot of my soft plastics. And if you look at this, what I do is I carry a duffel bag full of things that I might use, but I lay on top, right on top of this hatch, the baits I'm pretty sure I'm going to use. Lake Oahe is going to be a smallmouth tournament, so look at some of the baits I've got out. I've got flatworms, I've got the hit worm, I've got flat-nosed jerk shad. All this is in the max scent because I know how important scent's going to be for smallmouth. So I have a lot of soft plastics at my fingertips. And again, if I think something, I want to be able to get it. Same thing up here. In this hatch, I'm going to carry all my hard lures, crankbaits, jerkbaits, topwaters. But I take it a step further. And for every tournament I fish, and again, I worked really hard preparing yesterday to create this. In my Flambeau boxes, I create a box for each event. And this is a box I set up especially for Lake Oahe. So if I think about something, it's in there, and I could dig for it, but now I have a Lake Oahe box. So if I think I need a deeper diving crankbait than what I've got to tie it on, I go in there, there's a Rapala DT14 ready to go. So I'm constantly thinking about what I might need and some of the colors and baits that are going to work. Finally in the last hatch, more of the same. And in this one, I've got jigs, spinner baits, hair jigs, spoons. I've got some of those other categories. And once again, if I think something, I want to grab it. I want to make it real easy for me to access this stuff. So everything's labeled. I'll pull out a Flambeau box and show you. And this one, 3/8 ounce Mullix water slash spinner baits. So if I think, God, you know what? I need a lighter spinner bait. I need a different color. It's so easy for me to access. One of the things in practice is covering a lot of water, finding multiple patterns, letting the fish talk to you. But time management and efficiency in the boat is critical to having a good practice and a good event. I hope it helped you a little bit. Use some of these techniques in your practice for your events, whether it's a club tournament or a big national event, and I think it's going to help you. Mike Iaconelli, have a great day. See you later.